Welcome back, guys. I am Brian J. And we're back with another set of contestants for Supra USA. I am very excited to have these beautiful, gorgeous women. Again, second opportunity for me to be surrounded by so much beauty. So I want to appreciate you guys first of all.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Let's actually get to know a little bit about you guys. So if you want to present yourselves and say a little fact, kind of like we're in high school or middle school.
Oh, I love that.
Let's start with, of course. Let's start with my far right.
Hi everyone, my name is Tina Glaze, like a donut. I was born and raised in Jamaica, and I'm here representing for the country and for all developing countries that are out there.
Hello everyone, my name is Renee Hall and I'm representing the state of Ohio. And a fun fact about me is that I actually worked with the Bridgerton Experience on a collaboration on Pinterest. And I absolutely loved it because they took me as I was and they allowed me to be a Black representation for the industry.
My name is Heather Marie Thompson and I am from the state of New York representing New York here at Miss Supranational United States, and I have the platform of mental health awareness.
Hello everyone, I am Sedacious Owens representing Arkansas in the Miss Supranational United States 2023 competition. 3 things about me that I like people to know is that my favorite word is love, and it rhymes with my favorite animal, which is the dove. And one of my platforms is natural beauty, because of course Arkansas is the natural state. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Sonica and I'm representing Michigan. A fun fact about me is that I actually done gymnastics for 12 years, but took a little break and we're getting back into it.
Nice!
Prove it. Do a backflip right
On the table.
On the table.
I could do the old Matrix if you want.
Oh,
We'll see.
Well, I just pointed over here to the table and we see some tissue paper because earlier someone cried. So let's see who we can get to cry in this session. No, it was a good cry. It was a good cry.
Okay, good.
It was a good cry. And we were talking about mental health. You actually have a platform that's mental health. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about mental health and how it affects people. In the United States, we have a problem with mental health.
Yes, if you guys don't know, now you do. 1 in 5 people in the United States struggle with mental illness, and I am 1 in the 5 at least, so I don't know if anybody else at the table struggles, but I struggle with anxiety and depression, and I didn't get diagnosed until I was 20 years old. And so I went through my whole life struggling and had no cause or no known cause for it. I went to the doctors a lot of times with stomach issues because mental illness doesn't only present mentally but also physically, and I was told that I was faking stomach aches in school. And then when I was in college, I took an abnormal psychology class and learned about all of the different mental illnesses. So that's when I realized, it just clicked in my brain that that's probably what I was struggling from. So I took it to the internet and then I took it to my doctor and talked to her more about that because I do have mental illness within my family, and I advocated for myself and I got put on medication, so I'm doing much better today.
Proud of you.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, and kind of like segueing from what she's saying, in the pageant community, there's so much criticism. There's so many people that you need to just make feel like you're worthy enough. And mental health is a really big, important part of that. You guys have probably gotten a lot of criticism deciding to go in a pageant. How have you guys just kind of worked along with that, and how do you pair it with mental health?
I would say for me, I didn't necessarily, I got the lack of support a little bit from my family more than I did society, and it was only because they do hold me to a higher standard since I'm the oldest sibling out of my family on my mother's side. And it wasn't until I really explained to them that pageantry was more than just looking beautiful on a stage. It was more about building my communication skills, connecting with other women, and furthering my careers that I wanted to do. And I really just was proud of them because they were more open this time. They were more open when I had a conversation with them on how much I've grown as a woman, and now they fully support me. And it means a lot because it's really imperative to have somebody or a team to support you in pageantry. we go through physically, emotionally, spiritually demanding things, sometimes for a weekend or even a week, and it's great to have that support system behind you.
Just to piggyback up a little bit of what Portia is saying when it comes to, I'm the oldest as well of my family, and there's 12 of us, and a lot of the times I feel like growing up, my mom didn't really have the efforts and the support to really send us to school and provide food. So the responsibility that she had kind of falls into my lap. And as a child growing up, I never really understood why there were so many biased opinions and there were so many things that really push females to make them feel like you have to be the strong, you can't break down in a certain way or show emotion, despite being that we're made of emotion.
Especially in the Black community.
Especially in the Black community, but then also my mom raising 12 kids on her own after about 5 years with 3 sets of twins, she ran away. And so she took off, and I felt like that was her breaking point, and she didn't really face her fears. So now, as a young woman, and being older than my mom, in a way more mature, I find it hard to go back and have conversations with her because she never really faced herself and become that like mother role model and figure in her life. So just being here right now amongst beautiful women like yourself, hearing everyone's story, it's inspiring to me because I'm looking for future generations that are not just they're dealing with stuff that has happened in their past, and they're dealing with stuff that is going on in the future currently. So I think it's really important, and me and her had a conversation yesterday about being raised by single moms, and it's so hard because not only do these single moms have to be providing jobs and housing, but they're also having to deal with raising their son and being, hey, represent masculine and feminine energy. So it's very touching to have women amongst yourselves and your platform with mental illness to be able to sit here and share like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're here, and we're fighting for a cause because there's so many people out there suffering from this. And it's not like they're aware. No one's gonna come forward and say, this is what I'm dealing with, but everyone goes through pain. Everyone has things they're dealing with. So I just think it's really important that you share that, and thank you.
Piggybacking off of that and the topic of mental health, I think in the beginning, in my personal experience, there was a situation where my family, they didn't really understand what pageantry was, and they mostly thought it was a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with me, my growth is always shown on my body. So seeing the transformation from my weight to my health to my eating habits and things like that, and more of a mindset and how I carried myself, other than all the skills that you learn during pageantry about posture and things like that, but it was more of the confidence within myself and that self-love that you get when you address the mental health struggles that you're going through. Because in my past, I think I finally decided after my first pageant and meeting all the strong women and the power that you guys embody to show me to get better, is opening a new door for me to be an elevated person.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So thank you all.
Thank you, girl.
Listen, like you all said, mental health is so important, and a lot of times, just in beauty pageants, people try to like push it to the side. And I always, anytime a girl asks me for any advice, my first advice is that your mental health. So if you don't have your mental health, it doesn't have to be perfect, because none of us are. We all struggle.
Yeah.
Sometimes even daily, even if it's for 5 minutes, we look at ourselves and we say, oh no, I don't like what I see. It happens, but we do have to take care of it, and we have to be doing something towards it. You guys chose to compete in Supra, and Supra is aspirational, inspirational. So I would love to know how you guys kind of connect that with yourselves, and what could you tell everyone that makes you aspirational and inspirational?
I would definitely start this one because my journey, I think, is a little different from most other contestants in this pageant. Starting off when I was young, I did go through something that was very life-changing that I would prefer to keep private, but it's something that a young girl should never have to go through. Throughout the years, after just looking up to people in my family, I was trying to look for something that was more what would you say, out, like thinking outside of the box. And then eventually I ran across pageantry. So with that, I began to realize that, well, this is a big move. My family wasn't really, into it. And then I started thinking about myself, doubting. I was like, I don't really know how to do makeup. I am transitioning from perm to natural. Don't know if I want to dye my hair. I never really wear like fake nails. I'm not very good at walking in heels. I just really don't fit the criteria of what most people would say is a pageant queen. So I thought to myself, I was like, well, let's see. Let's look at all the big 6 pageants. And then I ran across Supranational. And then I was like, okay, let's look at all the countries that have won each of the 6 titles. And then because I'm in the United States of America, I decided to look up all of our winners and found out this is the only pageant in the top 6 that America has not won. That's one of the main reasons I decided to join, because I feel like sometimes when people are so in the inside, you can't really see out until someone on the out can come in and bring that light into the picture. And then other people who have like skin conditions, speaking problems, lack of confidence, just getting to enjoy the journey with other, beautiful ladies, even yourself. And I see your nails.
They're all right, I guess.
Yes, it would definitely give them the urge and the opportunity to be able to say, hey, I am beautiful. I am natural, even if I don't know how to do such and such, and I can't do this. It gives them the motivation, the encouragement to say, even if you mess up, if you fall, keep trying, because you just never know what other people are looking for, and just give your time that wisdom to get better in life. And that's all you can do, is put your best foot forward, and people are either going to like you or they're not.
That's true. And I hope you guys like these girls, because they're pretty amazing so far, don't you guys think? Guys, just moving on to something a little bit more serious. I'm from Florida, originally from Florida, live in Las Vegas now. We are in the US. We claim that we are the best country in the world. But there are a lot of things, and it kind of gives me goosebumps, that are happening in Florida right now that aren't necessarily something I think the pageant community really supports. So I would love for you guys to speak a little bit about that and just tell us how you feel, what do you think, and yeah.
Well, I can start it off speaking about LGBTQ and all the other letters, because there are some other letters. Most people would say that a double X chromosome is a woman, and a XY chromosome is, of course, is a man. That is true biologically, but from a human standpoint, we sometimes have to think outside of the box and realize, hey, if someone wants to be statusized as something, they have free will to do so. And I don't want to get too spiritual, but for those who are spiritual, know that God gives us free will to do whatever we please. So if gods and spirituality are the ultimate judges, as a human, how can we judge other people when we bleed too? Doesn't make sense. So for someone that wants to be a woman, as long as they act like a woman, look like a woman, feel like a woman, whatever, like a woman, then I would say that willingly they are a woman, and vice versa as a man. Because let's say, I can't remember who was asked this question. It was a former pageant queen, and she was asked, how do you feel about a man running to be a Miss Queen? And basically, she pretty much said the same thing that I'm saying now, but the other question that really wasn't asked was, how would someone feel if a woman ran for a Mr. King position? And me personally, I'm all about gender equality. So gender equality, transgenders, individuality, free will. To me, that's all the same thing because we're all human and we can all learn from each other and grow. And we shouldn't make other people feel offended just because we don't agree with something. If no one is bothering you, basically just leave them alone. Let them do what they want to do. Yeah.
No, and the world is so full. I'm sorry. The world is so full of diversity. Diversity is what fuels us. Is especially in the U.S. It's what makes us different. Like look at this table right now.
Absolutely. And another thing I would like to say, I come from a background where it was one track mindset. There was never diversity. I remember an actual incident that happened in the village. The village people found out that someone was actually LGBTQ. And if you guys don't know anything about Jamaica, we recently got our independence back in 1962, so it's recent from England. A lot of the times there's a way of making everyone form together by taking the biggest guy in the village or in the community and it's called buck breaking. So they basically dehumanize them by doing things to them in front of the people. And so growing up in the village, we found out, like we heard people, we found out they were like, hey, someone is gay in a way, like he's, you know, and the whole village got together, went to his house and stoned him to death. And it was such a painful experience for me as a child, and coming here to America and seeing how diverse it is. I find it sometimes in myself. Even my makeup artist is currently part of the LGBTQ and other letters community, and he is so much fun, so light, so kind-hearted, and I'm still in a way shocked that my whole country, my whole culture is blinded to accepting this. So hearing your story and saying we should be accepting and individualizing these people for who they are, because choice is for you. You have the choice to do whatever you need to do, and free will. So if you feel like you were born in a different skin, there is no problem with you being that who you become. If you feel like that's who you are inside, it should be accepted. So I find that right now, going back to my country and being able to coming to America, I can surround myself with all these different people and the way they act, the way they dress, like seeing transgender. I actually recently just went to my first trans show, and it was such an amazing experience to see these women, like even me. It's like you're more of a woman than I am, and it's so beautiful. You know, I'm more accepting to it, but I remember that specific incident as a child because every time I see someone who are empowering their free will and they're putting themselves out there, not caring what the world thinks, it's beautiful. And I wish I could go back and just scream at these people that was throwing stone at this individual and say, stop, he's doing what he wants to do. I want to stand there and kind of take the blame, even though I feel like that country, again, they were forced to think like that because this is something that was happening to them. At the same time, it should be accepted. That's all I like. We should just accept people for who they are, you know.
And that's the thing. It's that in a country that we always say that we embody inclusivity
And freedom.
and freedom. And that is the word I wanted to bring up because the word freedom is being taken in so many different contexts. It's a word. Take it how it is. We are free, and that is what it is, to express yourself the way how it is, to believe in what you want, and make sure that the word believe in what you want is more inclusive, not barricaded.
Believing what you think I want you to believe. And that's what we're here for, you know?
And I think we should definitely preach that freedom is not what a telephone example is. It's not your own interpretation. It is the word freedom, and that is what we should keep embodying.
Love that.
I agree. And speaking of freedom, I think women should have the free right to our own bodies. And as a woman who suffers with endometriosis, one of my symptoms potentially as I get older is infertility. And the fact that right now we are in a time where women can't have the right to our own bodies, it is really disappointing. And for me, I suffer with chronic pain every single month. And I'm okay with suffering with that pain as long as I have the ability to have my children. And so if one day I do decide if it's not the right time for me, I do want to have that option aside and that choice. And at the same time, even though I have a chance of maybe that might be the only time that I have a child, I still want to be able to have that free right to myself.
I also agree with that. I live in New York State, and I'm so lucky I do because of our rights as women. In Florida, as well as other states in our country, women are getting their rights ripped away from them when it comes to the right to abortion and the right to choice. And I believe that we all should always have a choice of what happens with our bodies. And having a background in health sciences, because I graduated with my health sciences degree, I learned a lot about the science behind our bodies and the science behind pregnancy. And I'm very science-minded, and sometimes pregnancy is not the right answer for us and our bodies, and it can be life-threatening to ourselves or the fetus. So I think it is very important that we have that choice so that we aren't suffering ourselves.
And I'll piggyback or go back to what she said. You know, freedom is when you get to choose what you want to do.
Yes.
And again, like you said, as long as you're not affecting another person, what's it to you?
It's so interesting because, again, coming from a third world country into America, you hear it's the land of freedom. And so I was expecting to come here and see this more unified community and group. And I've literally done a social experiment back in high school where I would go to maybe different communities that are around, and I would ask, hey, how long were you living next to your neighbor? And I've met people who have lived next to each other for 30 years and don't know who each other is. Like, they don't know their neighbor. And
That doesn't happen in the Caribbean.
They don't. We have a saying in the Caribbean that says, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, because there is a mom, there's your teacher, there's the bus driver, the mail lady. And so it is important for all of us to be able to impact these younger generation. And also, we go back to freedom. It's where's the freedom in making your own decision? Where's the freedom in allowing someone to be who they see themselves as? You know, and it takes away from the whole title, the land of freedom. It's one of our basic rights. You know, so why is it that even represented on social media, why is it that you really don't have the choice to be free? You know, this is not something that I wake up to and say, oh, I potentially would want to have a child, and it's taken away from me if I change my mind or if something happens. Again, you know, my mom, she has 12 of us, and I feel if she had that choice to do what she wanted to do with her body, she wouldn't have left us, you know. And so it takes away from who the person is as who they want to be. And I find that it's very interesting that you represent, you know, what you want to put out there in the world and what you want to be seen as yourself. And it breaks my heart to be able to hear this stigma. Oh my goodness, America is so bold and it's beautiful, and to come here and see people are segregated based on wealth, based on education levels, based on skin tone, and it's not free. It's false advertising. Like I tell people all the time, America's not what it seems.
We gotta sue. We gotta come up and sue the U.S. Wait, this is what we bargained for.
This is not it.
Well, guys, I want to appreciate you so much. Thank you for speaking, you know, about those touchy subjects. It's really important. You guys have a platform. You guys have an audience. You guys have people looking at you that you could inspire. Maybe someone could change their mind with what you guys say. So always remember that. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all these beautiful girls. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And guys, yeah, one of these girls might just be the next Miss Supranational USA. So yeah, is it one of them? Let me know in the comments. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, bye.